Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another video today. What we're going to be doing is we'll be doing an in-depth breakdown and prediction for our Georgia Bulldogs versus Alabama game that we have coming up this Saturday. This Saturday on ABC at 7:30, we're going to have number 2 Georgia 3-0 playing number 4 Alabama, also sitting at 3-0. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any comments about this game or any other ones, make sure that you drop them below and I'll respond back to you. We go over every game every weekend for both the college football season as well as the NFL season. We break them down. We do our money lines, spreads, and the over-unders. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe so you can follow along with us. As I was saying, we have Georgia versus Alabama, 7:30 this Saturday. Alabama's coming in here. They have a 65.6% chance to win this game. That might seem kind of high, but I think the only reason that they're coming in there with such favorable percentages is because of the way that Georgia left their very last game. Georgia barely beat Kentucky week 3. Both teams are coming off the bye week in week 4, but Georgia kind of left a sour taste in everyone's mouth just based off of that game. You don't want to look too much into that game. Never apologize for a win. Georgia did win it, but it was about as bad of a performance as it could have been. Defense played fine. The defense was getting ran on. Kentucky actually had 10 more first downs than Georgia, but Georgia, as of right now, has the number 2 overall roster according to ESPN. They are loaded at every single position, and they got bullied up and down the field by Kentucky's line of scrimmage, both the defensive line as well as the offensive line. They didn't play well, but they won it, so hopefully they can just learn from that. You can learn from your losses. Thankfully, Georgia didn't lose the game, so they can still learn a lot from that win. Maybe they were just taking the game for granted, but Kirby Smart is going to make sure that the team takes everything they can from that game and that they do not duplicate that performance at any other point this season. Georgia, we know what their goal is. It's to win another national championship. They're 3rd and 4th in 4 years. They want to compete for the SEC championship, but they want to make the playoffs. They want to win the SEC, get the bye week, get in there, get to that national championship game, and their roster's loaded. But that's no disrespect to Alabama. Yes, Nick Saban did retire, but Kalen DeBoer brought that massive win percentage that he has into Alabama. Almost had to completely flip over the roster. They had about 27 players leave. They brought in a lot of transfers. They've been working the portal. ESPN actually has them as the number 1 overall roster. But number 1, number 2, it really doesn't matter. These teams are both 1 and 2. Flip-flop them whatever way you want to. Both teams are loaded. Both teams are coming in here with star potential first-round pick quarterbacks. Georgia has Carson Beck. Alabama has Milroe. Both quarterbacks are slinging it up and down the field. But yes, as of right now, Milroe has had the better performance up to week 5 of the season. But both teams are capable of high-powered offenses. Both teams are coming in here with top 10 defenses. When you're looking at the team stats here, well, let's just break down the spreads first. Georgia is actually the Vegas favorite as of right now. So a lot of people are siding with Alabama, but Vegas is saying that Georgia is a 1.5 point favorite. The over-under is 48.5. This game's going to be close. Both teams can move the ball. Both teams can play. Both teams have great coaching staffs. Georgia, they average 31.7 points a game. Their defense is only giving up 6 points per game. Alabama, the high-powered offense, they're averaging 49 per game, and their defense is giving up 8.7 points per game. But no matter how you flip it, both of these teams are extremely talented. They're stacked at every position. Georgia, they're throwing for 260 a game. Bama, 246. Georgia's running for 146. Bama's running for 238. So yes, Georgia does have a lesser offense as of right now statistically, but they've also played the tougher schedule. They had Kentucky. They had Clemson, who has a top 10 defense. Basically, the best team Alabama's played is USF, really. They haven't really been tested at any point this season. You could maybe say USF or Wisconsin, but Wisconsin was even without their starting quarterback because he got knocked out in the first quarter. But it really doesn't matter. Both teams are getting into SEC play right now. The schedule's going to get a lot tougher. It's week 5, and this is the best game of the season so far. Yes, there'll be other games. There'll be Georgia, Texas. There'll be Bama, Texas. There'll be Buckeyes versus Wolverines. But as of right now, This is it. This is the biggest game that we've had on the schedule, and both of these teams can move it. When you're looking at the skill position players, we have Carson Beck, who a lot of people had him as the Heisman frontrunner. Some had him as the number one quarterback drafted. It's not technically looking like that right now, but they've only played 3 games. He still has 9 regular season games left over, plus a conference championship, plus potential playoffs. So there's a lot of room for him to make up there, but he has 680 yards passing. Trevor Etienne, the transfer running back from Florida, he's the leading rusher at 157 yards. Then you have Dominic Lovett, who's the leading receiver. For Alabama, obviously Milroe, 394 yards passing. Miller at 194. But we also know that Milroe is a mobile quarterback. He does love to run. And then you have Ryan Williams there with 207 yards. And Milroe has 9 total touchdowns. That's passing and rushing. The thing about Milroe, the thing about Kalen DeBoer loves the deep vertical passes. That's actually Milroe's strength. The biggest knock on him last season was the short intermittent passes, but he could hit the deep ball. He had a great arm. Kalen DeBoer has been utilizing that for. Look for Alabama with the aggressive play style of Kalen DeBoer to come out the gate throwing deep bombs nonstop, trying to get the 50-yard pass. They're going to try to throw Georgia off their game, try to have them trailing, try to have them sputtering, trying to catch up with Alabama's offense. They want to dictate the pace of the game. But the thing that it's going to come down to is Georgia's defense going to allow them to be able to dictate the game? That's what's going to be the real fun thing here, is watching the chess match. Kalen DeBoer is going to be aggressive. I wouldn't say Kirby Smart's necessarily aggressive on the offensive side. They've actually had more of a vanilla offense so far, but they had the bye week. Maybe they've kind of changed up a couple things. They haven't really needed to get into a shootout, but with Alabama, this game could easily turn into a 33-30 type game, but it's going to be close no matter what it is. I don't really see either of these teams blowing out the other. When you look at our leading passers, we have Carson Beck there, 7 touchdowns, 0 picks. Jalen Milroe following right behind him, 5 touchdowns and 0 picks. And we can also look how these teams have played the last couple of games. So Georgia has wins versus Clemson, which every single week looks like a better and better win. Clemson slowly climbing their way back up the top 25. Bama has no top 25 wins technically. They've also beaten Tennessee Tech. They've beaten Kentucky. Alabama, they beat Western Kentucky. They beat USF, which was not a good game, and they beat Wisconsin. But no matter what, this is going to be a really fun game. As I was saying, Georgia is obviously the favorite here by the Vegas spread. This game could go either way. I could see either one of these teams winning it. This is basically a 50-50 split. Who has the better offense come Saturday? Whose defense is going to come out more prepared? You could say Kirby Smart has a lot of experience in these games, especially versus Alabama, but he's actually lost the majority of the Bama games. But none of that matters now. Saban's gone. This is the new rivalry. This is DeBoer versus Kirby Smart. Who's going to come out on top the first time these teams meet? We know this might not even be the first time they meet this year. They could meet again in the SEC Championship. They could even meet in the 12-team playoff now. So the rivalry has only just begun. This is the first chapter. But who am I picking to win this game? I'm actually going to go with the Georgia Bulldogs, winning this one 24-20, covering that spread, coming in with the under. But I'm not going to lie, I flip-flopped about 15 times here. I had Bama winning, I had Georgia winning. That's how even this game is. And really, it doesn't necessarily matter who wins this game. 12 teams get in the playoffs. These teams can meet again in the SEC Championship. If you win the SEC, you automatically get in the playoffs, get the bye week, the first round. So it really doesn't matter here, but you want to win this game, especially for bragging rights. One of these teams wants to cement themselves as their premier team in the premier conference in the 2024 season. You still have Texas on the horizon. You don't want to take the chance of potentially losing a second one to them. So you want to win this game. You want to go into that game with Texas undefeated. Whoever wins this game could also technically catapult Texas potentially for the number 1 spot in all of college football. But even if you lose it, you can still finish the regular season 11-1 or 10-2 in the SEC is going to get you in the playoffs regardless. But why lose it if you don't have to lose it? These guys are competitive. They want to win it. As of right now, I'm going to go with Georgia 24-20. But like I said, this game could go either way. But that's our prediction for the game. Please hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any comments on this game or any other ones, drop them below, and I will respond. Thank you.